number one. Number one, quit acting like a landlubber and answer me. Number one.
Why are you always calling me a number, Captain? I'm a first mate, not a number.
Well, why the hell not? We be sailing on the Enterprise, aren't we? Arr! Arr!
Most times, I never know what you be talking about, Captain. Highly illogical, arr!
Number one, check the map down below and look for an island called Beta Canopus. It's an M-shaped island, arr!
You said M-class, Captain? What in the scurvy does that mean?
M-shaped, number one. Not M-class, M-shaped.
There it be, Captain. Directly northeast.
All right, then. Lay in a course bearing 201 Mark 5, number one. Maximum warp.
Maximum what, Captain?
Engage.
What, Captain?
Blimey, number one. We've got an island full of treasure to dig up. Now set the sails and let's be on with it before I lock you up in the brig. Arr!
Treasure? Is that what we're doing again? That's all we ever do. Go dig up some treasure, fight some mindless skeletons, and then trade in our booty for nothing but these slots. Let me guess, we've got a fancy riddle to solve again too, don't we?
Arr!
Would you quit your fucking bitching? I mean, look at that water. Do you see the water? Look at how pretty that water is. Have you ever seen water that looks so good? Huh?
Shit. Shit. Arr, arr.
Now don't you go changing the subject on me, Captain. You keep telling me we're gonna boldly go where no pirate has gone before. And where do we go? The same damn islands with the same damn shit. And all we do is trade it in for these fancy slots.
That be enough, number one, or I'm gonna puke all over you again tonight when we be celebrating at the Pubberino. Now set the sail!
All right, all right. You don't have to be such a bloody fanboy, do you now, Arr?
Make it so!
Aye, Captain, I'm giving her all she's got. There she blows, Captain!
One, two, three. Arr. Come on, number one. Arr! Come down, me scallywag. I'm right here. What do you make of the last part of this here riddle? From the southeastern beach, with ye feet you'll reach. If ye be a true robber, dig 5 paces west, and you'll live long and prosper.
Arr! Damn it, Captain! This is what I'm talking about. That's no riddle at all. It be nothing but simple damn instructions. Go here, find this. Step this many times in that direction and dig. What a joke,
Now, you listen here, number one. We be pirates, and this is what pirates do, right? We sail the seas and hunt for treasure, and cash it in for riches. That be our destiny, and resistance is futile. Arr!
Something ain't right though, Captain. You gotta see it too. What? You gotta see it too. I feel like we're stuck in some kind of twisted game where there be nothing to do but these damn fetch quests over and over and over, and other things be off too.
Like what then?
Well, how about that, Captain? What the hell be this damn weird reptile? It looks like a snake and sounds like a snake, but it doesn't move. It's just been sitting there this whole damn time, making them hissing sounds.
Well, I don't know, number one.
Is this some sort of trick, Captain? Have you poisoned or tricked me?
I cannot change the laws of physics, number one, but I'll tell you now, I'm starting to see what you're talking about. Something ain't right. And ever since we started setting sail as mates together, true enough, things have been acting like they from the Delta Quadrant. How did we even get here? And where are we going? We be voyagers, lost at sea. What is the point of all of this, damn it?
Arr! Exactly, Captain! What if it's all going wrong? Some sort of big conspiracy? What if we're just little pirate Borg pawns under control, doing nothing but these crazy quests that amount to nothing?
What happened to the snake then, number one?
I don't know. What if we're not here of our own free will at all? What if we're all under control by someone else for their own crazy enjoyment?
What do you mean, enjoyment? How could this be enjoyment?
I cannot explain it, Captain, but I know things are only impossible until they're not. And whoever is supposed to be controlling that snake ain't doing it now. So what if that happens to us, Captain? We cannot keep doing this over and over and over and over.
Computer, end program. Let's get out of here and score this thing. For real, I can't put another minute into this game without scoring it first. Let's do this. Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm your host, Gurhm, and today I'm talking about Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is an open world adventure game where you get to play as a pirate and team up with others online or sail solo to do pirate stuff. It was developed by Rare Studios and published by Microsoft and just released in late March. Now, so far, I've clocked in roughly 40 to 50 hours into the game, and I gotta say, I am so freaking pissed off with this game. Honestly, I had more fun putting the intro together than actually playing the game. Now, there are some aspects of it that I do really like, but overall, it is a freaking flop in terms of what it actually delivers. So, let's jump right in and talk about what I think all the good and what all the bad aspects are. kick things off today with the category I normally close on, the gameplay. For me, gameplay is always the most important category, and I want to start here today because I have been anticipating the release of Sea of Thieves for a long time. And I knew ahead of time that the graphics were going to be really cartoony, which I typically don't dig. And I also knew that the game wouldn't be very story driven. So I was really hoping that the gameplay would be something special that made this game a fun, lasting experience. So let's dig in and see if it pulls it off. Spoiler alert! Nope! Let's start out with what you actually do in the game. When you first log in, you get the chance to choose between two types of ship, either the larger galleon or the smaller sloop. If you choose galleon, you can team up with up to 4 friends or randoms, and if you choose the sloop, you can sail with 1 other friend or random. Once you load in, the game drops you at a tavern on one of the 6 outpost islands in the world. Outposts are where you pick up and return quests for coin, and you can spend that coin on cosmetic items. Each outpost has a few characters that I call quest dispensers, since they have no real relevance in the world other than a place to obtain and cash in quests. These quest dispensers can be found at any of the 6 outposts. They each provide their own types of quests as well, such as hunting for chests, where you get a map with an X marked on an island that you have to locate in the world, sail to, and then find the spot where you dig up the loot. There's also skeleton pirate captains that you have to hunt down and kill, which give you skulls that you can trade in for coin. There's also what they call riddles, where you follow some sort of basic instructions that lead you to a place where you also have to dig up a chest. Some quests require you to gather chickens using coops, and as well you return those for coin once you get back to an outpost. This, other than sailing to get where you need to go, is what you'll be doing 80% of the time you play the game. Once you return to the outposts, trade in your quests and get coin, the only thing that you can do with it at that point is spend it on cosmetic items for your character or for your gear, such as your shovel, lantern, or mug. None of the different missions are tied to any kind of story, characters, or world events that you'll be building towards as well. You just turn them in and you're on to the next one. Forever. The missions are all fetch quests that duplicate repeatedly. As you finish them, it raises your in-game level with each quest dispenser, and at that point they'll start giving you higher level missions that basically just take longer to finish with items that are worth more coin. Honestly, it's total bullshit though, because it's simply the same as doing more shorter missions that are each worth less but add up to the same amount in the same amount of time. As you level up with the quest dispensers, there are some minor conditions that get put on higher level AI enemies to make them more difficult. I won't spoil them here, but honestly, they're still easy as hell though. Overall, I was totally shocked at the level of simplicity with the mission system, considering it's the major gameplay element for players to engage in. Really disappointing in my opinion. There's some other ways to get loot in the game as well, such as random events or encounters that you'll face. For instance, you can find random items on islands or come across sunken ships in the ocean to explore that have loot inside. There's also skeleton fortresses that you can attack when a skull is floating in the sky above them. And of course, PvP encounters where you'll meet other online players to either do battle with or to make friends with. The world consists of various size islands, so your main mode of transportation to get around in the game from island to island is sailing. And sailing, in my opinion, is by far the most fun I have in the game. With friends or even alone, it's a super chill experience, and after a long night of PUBG, Siege, or Overwatch, it's super nice to sail the seas and unwind. Sometimes I hit it before work while I'm waking up and enjoying my morning coffee as well. Once you raise your anchor, set the sails, it's up to you to navigate the map with your compass, align the sails with the direction of the wind, and steer your ship through the open seas. Is it simple as hell? Yeah, but it's engaging, and coupled with the visuals, it makes for an excellent experience to get around the world. You can't just abandon the wheel either, or the water will start steering you off course in a direction that you for sure don't want to go in. You also have to take care of your ship. It can take damage, in which case you'll have to repair it. It can also deal damage too though, using the cannons mounted on each side of the ship. You load those babies up with cannonballs, lead your shots, and try to take out other pirate ships or even enemies on the shore. The cannon shooting I found to be the best part of the in-game combat as well. Using your sword or guns is just nasty. It's so basic and clunky that it's just not fun at all. Literally, you get to either swing your sword in 3 consecutive slashes or do a charged attack that can potentially dash through multiple enemies. The gunplay is equally as bad. There's 3 guns, a pistol, blunderbuss, and a sniper, and none are particularly great to use. Overall, the combat just sucks. Even when fighting other pirate ships, you can simply repair any damage taken to your ship in moments. As long as you're paying attention to when you take a hit, all you do is throw up a board when there's a leak, get the water out from below deck, and you're fine. At that point, ship battles just boil down to resource fatigue, where the loser will likely be the first ship to run out of repair boards or cannons. At the end of the day, I just quit messing around with ships and avoided combat altogether unless it was against the AI. Honestly, I almost never lost a PvP battle, and frankly, at times, I kind of felt bad afterwards. I never thought I would say that since I play so many competitive games, but that was the feeling. Every time I stole loot, sank a ship, or killed an enemy pirate, I knew they'd probably invested several hours into sailing, digging up chests, and wandering around the world just to get coin to buy a cool new hat. I think it really speaks to how poorly Sea of Thieves executes what it's actually trying to be. It's possible that Rare Studios just never completely figured that out because it's kind of like playing a game that's having an identity crisis. My friends have said to me, it's a pirate game. You shouldn't feel bad for wrecking other people and stealing their shit. But this may be a pirate-themed game, but at its core, it feels like it's a kid's game. The barrier to entry is so freaking low. When I kill someone, steal their loot, and sink their ship, I feel like I'm stealing an ice cream cone from a kid who saved up his allowance for weeks to get it. It would be different if there were actual tactics, mechanics to master, or better ways to outwit or outplay other players. Or maybe even just ways that were more fun. That would require player levels and matchmaking though, which apparently is too difficult for them to include. The PvP just feels like griefing to me. I feel like I'm a bully on the playground, just ruining other players' fun. That is not the experience I want in a PvP game. I want to develop my skills and feel the glory knowing that I outplayed my enemy. Instead, I feel like it was made so that everyone who plays gets a participation award. I'm not sure Rare Studios tried to make a kids game though. They sure didn't market it as such, but I feel like that's what it is. And that's not a diss if you enjoy the game either. It just is what it is. When I bought the game, I was expecting way more mature themes with badass combat, movement, progression, and skill. That's not this though. It's so basic and simple that anybody can play it and get great really fast. And for me, that really diminishes the rewarding aspects of the gameplay. There's some other things that I have issues with regarding the gameplay, but the core of my dissatisfaction lies with this, and it just kills it for me. There's nothing to get better at or build on. With such a low bar of difficulty, dumb AI, and such egregious overuse of the same missions over and over that only give you in-game currency for cosmetics, it just feels utterly boring. When I was thinking about it, it kind of feels like one of those free mobile games that you download, and after you play it for a little while, you're like, whatever. Other than enjoying the experience of sailing, which is very cool, Sea of Thieves gameplay is such an uninspired experience. There are some aspects of the gameplay that are fun as hell to experience in Sea of Thieves, but overall, it's just so limited in scope. I'm gonna give the gameplay 2 out of 5 stars. I get that Sea of Thieves is a more casual game. In fact, I bought it for that reason. But Rare and Microsoft spun this thing as this epic online multiplayer pirate game with quote-unquote
limitless possibilities.
Seriously, Sea of Thieves is so damn far from being limitless. If by limitless they mean there's no limitations to how limited it can be, then yeah, it's limitless. Seriously, every time I play the game, I can't help but think, what if? What if the game had base building, trade routes and trade ships, AI enemy ships, survival systems where you have to maintain character health, player progression systems, cool movement mechanics, grappling hooks for fighting and pulling loot off islands to your ship, real character customization, uncharted areas to explore, more weapons, melee and takedown attacks, larger islands that you could get lost on, some sort of story or world characters with fictional origins and exclusive missions, random clues that lead to bigger clues with bigger quests, and enemy ship that hunts down pirate ships that you have to battle, more weapons like grenades or spears, different health items like evil sticks and chickens instead of just bananas, factions that you can enjoy the factual backstory and in-game benefits and consequences, more location-based factual relationships in the game. It's bullshit. And if it wasn't for the sailing in this game, it would have gotten a 1 star. Damn. God, so disappointing. All right, let's move on and talk about the audio. And although I'm a little bit split on this category, there are definitely some cool aspects of it that boost the more enjoyable parts of the gameplay. So let's check it out. Let's start with music, which, as long as you don't have a crewmate running around the deck playing music the whole time, you largely only get some light undertone music that sits in the background while you sail the seas or wander from island to island. Some of that is great, honestly, but I do feel like some music would be really nice more often. I turned on some of my own tunes while I was sailing, and it was great. So I think there's a bit of a missed opportunity here where they just could have put in some more cool music. Where I found myself mostly frustrated was with the lack of variety with the songs that you can play with instruments in the game. They've added one since the game released, but I believe that there's only 5 still. One of them in particular I love, but the rest just aren't good in my opinion. And when you cycle through the same tunes over and over, they get old really fast. The one song that I do really like captures this cool, sad, dark undertone. It just fit the game better, and I wish that there were more like it. Something that carries a feeling of being on the open seas, isolation, beauty, longing, and mystery.
Just a couple of roads out of the seas, living the pirate's life.
Arr.
The songs that are more chipper and goofy, I just don't feel like they fit the game, or at least not the game that I want to play. In terms of the game's sound effects, it was a mixed bag in terms of what pulled me in and what pushed me out of the game's experience. Sailing and the sounds of the open seas and your boat are really well done. But when you get off your boat, things start to get really cut and pasty and honestly pretty annoying. The sounds of the snakes, chickens, and pigs are just the same audio clip used over and over, and Every island and cave on those islands sounds the same as well. When I was wandering around, I feel like I could actually see the list of audio samples in my head of everything that they used in the whole game. And it didn't matter where I was in the world. You could sail from one end of the map to the other, hop on an island, and hear the same 5 to 8 sounds. The same goes for the enemies as well. All the skeletons make the same noises. It's just lame. The rest of the characters, aka quest dispensers, not only say the most unforgettable lines, but the delivery is just half-ass. Whenever they talk to me too, I feel like they were just trying to make me feel good. You'd walk up to one of them to browse their inventory and they'd say things like, "Whoa, it's great to see you again." I just felt like I don't need this game to emotionally take care of me. Who is this character and why is he saying that to me? It just doesn't make any sense, and honestly supports what I was saying earlier about this being a kid's game. I feel like you walk around and it's just all about making you feel good. Overall, it's good you spend most of the time in your boat, because that's where the game sounds the best. It doesn't save it from how lame the rest of the world is, but they did an awesome job there. There is some good stuff that Sea of Thieves delivers here in the audio, but in my opinion, there were also some missed opportunities. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 stars. Sailing and working your ship on the open seas sounds so good and really pulled me into the world. I loved that. It's just too bad that some of the sound effects, voice acting, and even the music dragged this category down for me. Okay, let's move on and talk about the story. And honestly, there's not a lot to talk about here. Literally, Sea of Thieves has 0 in-game story. There's no characters, origin, or history. There's nothing you're building towards, and your character is just a complete blank slate. Now, look, I'm not against online multiplayers focusing on aspects that are more important, like gameplay, balance, and performance, and if at all, just having a light story in the background. But seriously, the only card that Sea of Thieves has to play here is you get to create your own story. Look, if all the other categories were top-notch, this may have been an okay path to take with the game, but that is not the case here. Instead, it's just a huge missed opportunity where I feel like they could have done something creative and immersive. I'm just begging the game to do something engaging with me that I can connect on. Unfortunately, it's just not there. I wish it was. Okay, let's move on and talk about the graphics. And I am stoked to cover this category because when I first jumped into Sea of Thieves, I was in shock at how beautiful it was. I was honestly not expecting it. It is really beautiful. Now, over time, I did find some things that really bugged me graphically, and we'll cover those in just a second, but wow, this is coming from someone who really doesn't enjoy cartoony looking games. I was really impressed. Let's dig into it. Starting off with textures, since the game has a cartoony look, it gets a bit of a break here, and actually they did an alright job making the world consistent in this theme, so I didn't score it great, but I didn't ding it too bad either. Where the game does excel though is with the graphic effects. And yeah, let's talk about that water. It is super beautiful, and whether you're near an island and the waves are calm, or you're in a storm and there's 10-foot waves you're sailing and crashing over, it just looks so damn good. They just nailed its movement, coloring, and shape all together. The lighting is exceptional as well. There's really nice God rays. The lighting looks awesome in the water depending on what time of day it is. And speaking of the time, The morning, evening, and night cycles are all super beautiful as well. The one area that the lighting kind of bugged me was with the clouds. Now, this isn't actually a lighting issue, but some of the clouds just looked like shit to me. And when they're all lit up nice and pretty when the sun is on the horizon, there's just this stark quality contrast between the water, the light, and then the clouds. Some clouds will look super nice, but then there'll be this weird blob of a cloud that looks like someone accidentally spilt watercolor on their nice painting. I wish there was a bit more quality consistency there, because it would really pull me out of the experience when I would be enjoying a sunset and to then see this weird blob in the sky. Another area that I have to grind on is the character and asset models. First, everything is so damn basic, and it's all reused over and over through the entire game. Barrels, crates, coops, animals, trees, boats, items in general, they're all the same. Literally, you could jump into the game for the first time, wander around the island you spawn on for a few minutes, and voila! You've just seen 90% of the assets the rest of the world is made of. It's another aspect that made the game feel so small to me, alongside always having an outpost near you no matter where you were in the game. In the end, Sea of Thieves does have a pretty damn cool vibe that the graphics create though. It just bugged the hell out of me that every time I started to feel immersed, the blatant overuse of everything or some of the weird graphic anomalies would just pull me out of the experience. Sea of Thieves seriously has some gorgeous looking water and amazing lighting and weather effects. They did a killer job there. But there are some downsides that kept pulling me out of my experience and making me feel like the world I was in had zero density to it. I'm gonna give the graphics 3 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I wish I could give it a better score than that because it is a beautiful game. But you can't just have cool looking water and nice lighting. You also have to have great physics, and you can't use the same 10 game assets everywhere over and over in the game. Honestly, it doesn't matter where you go in Sea of Thieves, you're gonna see the same 10 game assets everywhere you go. The barrels, the skeletons, the trees, the rocks, the islands, everything. It doesn't matter what it is, you're gonna see it everywhere you go. It just sucks and totally breaks immersion in my experience. Okay, let's move on and talk about the settings. And being that this game is a cross-platform release, I was really worried that it wouldn't have good enough options for PC gaming. But I was actually really surprised at the end of the day. Let's check it out. Let's start with key rebindability, which from my testing looks awesome. I was able to rebind every key without issue, which honestly I was surprised about, being that this is a cross-platform game coming out of Microsoft. They nailed it though. Let's check out the video settings, where I do start dishing out some dings though. The first issue is the resolution options. There's only 6, and it's a weird mix between 16:9 and 16:10 aspect ratios. I'm not sure what the logic is here or why the limitation, but they earn a solid ding for that one. Everything else looks okay here though. Let's move on to graphics, where you get 5 different settings for each graphic option. Although it's super cool to have descriptions below detailing what each setting does, I always like to see this. I love it when devs do this. It's also hard to imagine that 5 different graphic settings make that much of a difference to the performance versus quality balance. The game looks so basic in general. I just don't know what could actually change between Cursed, the lowest setting, and Mythical, the highest. It would be nice to have a benchmark tool or even just a photo in the menu that displays the difference. Overall, they hit most of what you'd expect for a game that looks like Sea of Thieves though. Moving on to audio, There's a bunch of great options here. All the basics are available, but they also include some cool crew and proximity chat options that are great for the in-game online multiplayer comms. Okay, last up, let's hit the gameplay settings, which are great. You can toggle your HUD, which is excellent. This is one thing that I loved about the game, especially that the visuals were so nice. You can just turn your HUD off. It's awesome. I wish all games had this option. Field of view is down here at the bottom, which goes up to 90, and a bunch of sensitivity scales and access options for mouse and controllers. Sea of Thieves totally nails the settings category, which is great, except for the fact that it doesn't necessarily matter because the game as a whole just struggles so bad to be something decent in my experience. Regardless, I'm gonna give the settings 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, we have covered a lot of info today, and it is time to close this out and give the game a final score. Now, look, I have talked a ton of shit about Sea of Thieves, and for real, it deserved every bit of criticism. I continued playing the game for a long time, even after I wanted to stop, to see if there was more of a game the farther and longer you grinded. Unfortunately, all I experienced was the same thing over and over. Honestly, from hour 1 to hour 45, it is almost the exact same thing. I'm gonna give Sea of Thieves 2 out of 5 stars. Look, if they had marketed this thing for what it actually is and sold it for less, I think my score would be a lot different. But you can't tell me that your game's gonna have
limitless possibilities
and then throw me into a world that's a mile long but only an inch deep. Now, there is a game here. Is it a fun game? Yeah, it can be with your friends for a few hours, but overall, as a long-term gaming experience, I don't think so. I mean, if you're truly only looking for a super casual game where you sail for hours on end, do nothing but fetch quests that are super easy, and that doesn't have a great reward system built in, you might find some enjoyment in Sea of Thieves. Honestly, I would recommend it to parents that are looking for a game for their kids that want to start to get into online multiplayers. But honestly, I cannot recommend this turd of a game that tries to pass itself for a $60 AAA title. I don't care how beautiful the water is. Stay away from this game or wait for the price to drop considerably if you're still interested. And I do want to comment that the developers have really been marketing that content updates are going to be pushed out. And I've looked at the stuff that they're adding in, and I just don't believe that it's going to fix the fundamental issues that I have with the game. Sure, it's going to be great to have more variety, more AI enemies, other ships, weekly quests, and tweaks and optimizations. All that's really good stuff. But is it gonna change the core issues that I have where I don't feel engaged, that I have anything to get better at or build on or really feel immersed? I don't think so. But I'll keep tracking it, and if anything like that does come out, for sure, I'll keep you updated and let you know. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. I had a killer time scoring Sea of Thieves with you. Please, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the review, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the game. I would love to rap with you about it. Thanks again, and I will see you on the next Gurhm's Garage. GG.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell thing.
That's it, baby. That's a motherfucking good shit. I got it. What? Mother